I like that Jake said duty multiple times.
Duty. I took a duty before this. What's up?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 3. We're just going to jump right into it. I got my man Lee. I got Jake on the bottom. There you have it. And we're just going to go right at the beginning here. This was one of my favorite scenes of the entire episode. This guy was captured by the Crab King, right? Or whatever his name was. And he was all tied up and the crabs were eating him. And then all of a sudden, my man Damon comes out of nowhere with his dragon and lights it all on fire. And this guy's laying on the ground like, my king, he's here to save me. I can't believe it. Yes, burn him, my king. And now you just see a giant dragon's foot just step on him.
Save me! Splat. Well, you have been saved. Probably not the way you wanted, but you're saved. I love this scene because it just looks so just menacing. The dragon with the dark, and then you just see the flames, and everybody's this was just, again, the visuals and the shots I think were just spot on.
I mean, this is a lot more character development to Damon. I mean, we already know he's kind of like he's sinister, even sadistic. I mean, this just really paints a picture of him. And Damon's like, I got you, bro.
My king is gonna save me.
Yeah, you guys are messed up now.
We are taking a lot of time with this scene, but it's so great. He's like, my king is coming to save me. Yeah.
Now, one thing, here it comes. The dragon mimics Damon in that, because Damon goes to block and so does the dragon. This gives me heavy Aragon vibes. Did y'all read that book series?
No.
So it was like there was like the massive like connection between the dragon and rider, and it was basically like a through their like minds there was a connection. And it gives me major vibes here because they've made a really nice relationship between the rider and dragon, because just in this situation, Damon puts his arm up and the dragon instantly does the same.
Yeah, it blocks the arrows. But at this scene right here, Damon gets hit by a flaming arrow. He's chasing the Crab King, Prince, whatever we want to call him. He's chasing them down to try to defeat this army with his dragon, and they flee into the caves. So that's going to be a crucial part coming up near the end. So now the leaders and most of the army have fled into the caves where the dragon can't reach them. And he gets injured here and he kind of takes off.
Hit on the different like features of the dragons, whereas in Game of Thrones, all 3 dragons look the exact same except for color. And now here they're actually hitting all the different styles, because we watched a video of like the top 20 dragons to expect. If they keep this up, there's going to be some amazing looking dragons.
We do get to see a second dragon in this episode that I haven't seen before either, which was kind of cool. So,
you know what else I find interesting about the dragons is like they've got saddles and such. Like they got all that gear for the riders, where in Game of Thrones, like you're just sitting on their bareback.
So right here we have a 3-year time jump where you can see the king already has a son, and there's already murmurs and whispers going around the kingdom saying, well, since he's got a son, he might as well name the son the heir, because we don't want no queen running the kingdom. And you could also see that his wife is pregnant with another child as well. So we got a 3-year time jump.
This was a really interesting scene because it shows how much the king more cares about being a family man, because I think here a messenger comes about the fight going on with the Crab King, and he's just like, I don't want to hear it. Give me like 3 days.
Right. So Rhaenyra here is now like about 17 years old. That's just to put that into perspective. That's her age right now, thanks to the 3-year jump.
Well, these two are talking about it's time for the king to name his now firstborn son the heir.
Yeah, that's the murmuring. It's going all over the place. So it's like all the men are just like, well, he's got to use the son. We don't want the woman in charge. So since he's the hand, the Lord hand, make it happen. You know, get into his mind and make it happen, man. This is the messenger that showed up and disrupted the party saying, hey, king, I need your attention. And the king was like, it's been 3 years. Can you give me 3 days to celebrate? Basically, he's warning the king about the fight that's going on, the battles, and that they need assistance. So then we go to Rhaenyra, and she's not in the party. She wants nothing to do with it. She's outside reading books.
Listening to what do they call a minstrel?
Yeah, there's
Like
a guy
playing some
playing a
music?
song.
He's playing the same song
Over and
and
over.
over.
Yeah, but remember when y'all were younger and it's like you heard that one song you like and you just want to play it over and over and over
This
again?
is a different level of this, though, man. But I did like the fact that she's sitting underneath the godwood tree. I thought that was a really nice touch.
Poor guy's like playing the tune. He's like, "Should I do another one again? The same one again?" He's like, "Okay, okay."
Jesus, fine, all right.
He shows up. Yeah,
And she tells him to stop playing, and then Rhaenyra's like, "The princess commands you to do that," and then she goes, "The queen asks you to leave," and it's like, oh.
So then she's like, "I need you to come into the party," with that same smirky smile. And she's like, "I don't want to come into the party." She's like, "We want you to come into the party." So it's just like a back and forth thing. You could tell there's like 3 years have gone by and no love lost between the two besties that used to be best friends.
No, Rhaenyra definitely feels betrayed, and she is holding a grudge. She's not letting it go. And it was interesting to me when she asks, like, I think she said something like, "Did the king command this?" And she's like, "Yes." "Oh, then I must absolutely go then." And she was just totally being a jerk about it.
Yep.
Yeah, but she's a teenager, so she's like those terrible teens.
Mm-hmm.
Everything sucks. I don't want to deal with anyone. And then you'll find out later on the episode they're constantly pushing her to be married. So on top of that, she's got to deal with being a teenager. Her best friend just married her dad, which is awkward, and had a bunch of kids. And now they're just like, we're gonna bring some men for you to pick to be married.
Ugh.
So, and then she's also hearing the whispers of everyone saying, "You're not gonna rule because we're gonna give it to the boy." Just so you know. So be ready for all that. So there's a lot of pressure and stuff going on where this whole episode is her basically like, I don't want to be involved with my family. I want to run away, and I'm like done with everyone.
Allison, she still wants to have that friendship, because
Looks
she still
like that.
cares for it. It's just, I think she's falling under the same thing as King Viserys. It's duty,
Yeah.
and I think this whole episode is really hitting on the difference between what you want to do and what duty says you have to do.
Right.
And I really like how they're portraying all of it.
I like that Jake said duty multiple times.
Duty. I took a duty before this. What's up? On like a 3-day ride in this carriage, just sitting there rocking the whole time.
I like the cup holder though, man. The cup holder's on point, unless that's
Yeah.
for candles, but I think that's a cup holder. Way advanced for their time. But what we see here is the king, the princess, the queen, and they're going to the Lannisters, I believe, for a celebration.
The name day party / hunt.
They're going on a hunt. Yeah.
Yep.
But the Lannisters are all there, right?
Everyone's there.
Okay.
Everyone's there.
All the big houses are there. Yeah, they're all part of this hunt for the king.
I just love, like, she holds on to this smirky look like the entire episode. A lot of murmuring and whispering, and this is how the gossip gets going. Starts with you women sitting around cackling to one another, saying, "Oh, this is gonna happen, and your son's gonna be the king," and all that stuff. And it causes all kinds of problems in the kingdom. Okay, ladies? I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Boy.
Honestly, it's pretty, I mean, if you think about it, it's pretty ballsy because the queen's sitting right there and they're just blasting the king and his brother. And then the princess walks in and they don't stop. They throw it at her too.
Who is the lady sitting in this shot? Who's the lady sitting to the right of the queen? Because she's the one doing a lot of the talking. She's also the one that notices Rhaenyra trying to like walk around and not be seen. It's like, "What do you think, Princess Rhaenyra?" You're like, "Oh shit." Rhaenyra's like, Rhaenyra's like, "Dang it." They saw me.
I don't know, but there's always one in the group, right? There's always one loud one in the group that causes all the stir. So, and it's you, lady. It's you.
It's you.
With
Whoever
the bow
you
in your
are.
hair. That's right. You're the one.
They're there until something happens. So they're all there backing Rhaenyra until she has a brother.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Rhaenyra, she decides to take a walk and get away from the cackling women, and she runs into a Lannister. I believe this guy is a prince, or
he's a lord.
Castle Rock.
Yeah, he's a lord, and he just immediately says, "Hey, princess, would you like some wine?" She's like, "Sure." And then he goes,
"Some of my wine?"
he's like, And he's like, "Hey, have you ever been to like the south side of my kingdom? We've got these beautiful rocks and everything." She's like, "No, I haven't been there since I was a kid." Then he drops the bomb. He goes, "We could build a dragon lair there." And she's like, "What
Why would I
for?"
do that?
Maybe for my wife. Huh? And she's like, "Huh, thanks for the wine. Done."
This was such an awkward conversation. Dude, it was so great.
I like
this
paraphrasing.
is Lord Jason Lannister. He's actually the twin of the
Jason.
Lannister.
Yeah, that's right. He's a twin. The
that
first
ran
thing
in
he
and gave the king the message earlier on.
I didn't catch that. Do they explain that?
Yeah, they did.
I
do
missed
mention it.
And he goes on and he goes, "My twin brother's such a bore."
Yeah.
That's the first thing he says. "You're such a bore." So first he puts down his twin brother, and then he tries to say, look at that. Look at that look on his face. He held that look the whole time where he's like, "And maybe a wife?"
Yeah.
And she's just like, "Thanks for the wine, Mac. I'm good." And he just takes the wine and he's like, he just dumps it as he walks.
He gets frustrated, but he's trying hard. Look how he's standing so straight and tall and really trying to push his chest out a little bit.
It's kind of
my queen or my wife.
And he's like, she's like, he gets a smile from her, because they were talking about dragons. And then he drops the wife thing. Rhaenyra walks back into the king's tent and is like, "Is this why you brought me here, Dad? Like, you want me to get married off?" And they have this big argument about it's your duty. You got to get married. And if you marry him, it'll strengthen our families. The whole thing, of course, is nothing about love or anything. It's just all about playing chess on how to keep the kingdom strong. And he's like, he's a good match. He's got money. He's got power. He's got this. And she's just like, "I don't want to get married." And he's like, "You're going to get married." So they have this argument and she just runs away. She gets on her horse, takes off.
This gets really heated because King Viserys yells at her.
And the whole dinner party's like, they gave him the half turn.
Imagine having to be the hand where you have to go, "My lord."
Yeah.
You're just like,
it's like, have you ever been in a movie theater and people are talking, you give them the half turn? Maybe they're like, maybe they'll stop. That's what everybody was doing at the party. They were kind of like, "Ooh, what's going on over here?"
But the princess is just beyond frustrated. So she was getting it from her former best friend, then she got it from all those ladies, and then the Lannisters are trying to make moves. I mean, she's at her wit's end right now.
So the king of the guardsmen or the king of security that the princess picked saw her running away on a horse, and he chased her down on horseback and kind of stopped the horse before she ran into a lake or something along those lines. And she's just like, "I ain't going back. I'm just gonna hang out here for a while." So there's that.
Yeah, and I like him too because he's like I feel like he understands the emotion she's going through, and so he's like, "I'll be here for you, but at the same time, I have to do my duty and at least try to get you to go back." But he's not trying very hard. He's kind of like, "All right, well, we should go back." "No, okay. We'll hang out for a little bit." "All right, we should go back now." "Okay, well, let me build you this really nice fire." "We should go back now." "No, okay. I'm gonna take my armor off and we'll just hang out."
We're back at the king's. He's just drinking wine because he's also had enough. He's dealing with politics, family. He's starting to hear the whispers of, you're gonna tell your daughter she ain't gonna rule, right? Like, the Lannister dude comes back in, and they're all just saying, like, "You're gonna tell your daughter to step down for your son, right? That's what you should do, right?"
Can we talk about what this guy proposes to him?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
My God.
That made me throw up.
He literally hits you with that. He goes, "Now, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out."
Yeah, they're all coming to the king with these ideas.
He goes, "Hear me out. You wed your daughter to your son." Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's just like, what? This guy. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the hand for you.
Now remember, Rhaenyra's 17. The boy just turned 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "Wed them."
It's like
By
an
the way,
Anakin Padme story.
Aren't they supposed to be on a hunt? Like, who's doing the hunting?
So obviously you've never been to one of these hunts. The lower people do the hard work to find the creature, and then when it's time, that's when the king rolls in and just he does the kill, and that's it.
So
that's their hunt.
He has nothing to do. He doesn't have to do a thing. They find something. He just shows up and
yes.
And after all that craziness with the king, we go back to the princess and Commander Cole.
Commander Cody?
Star Wars, sorry. And
that's why I like this guy.
He's built a nice fire, and the queen. Let me do that one more time.
Keep the Commander Cody in. Keep it in.
The princess asks Cole a very important question, which now we know what's really been weighing on her heart. She looks at Cole and she says, "If I become queen, do you think the people will follow me?" And he goes, "Well, I have to." So there's that.
Yeah, it was like he said, like they don't really have a choice.
Yeah. But I felt like there was going to be more to that because it felt like it was about to get a very deep moment. Yeah. And then that's when they get attacked by the boar. This shows her like tipping point because you see all the aggression, frustration coming out as she is just relentlessly stabbing the crap out of this boar.
Exactly. So the boar attacks the princess. Cole comes up behind the boar, stabs the boar in the head while it's trying to bite and claw at the princess. And they're laying there, and the boar still basically just the nerves are making it flinch. And the princess goes crazy. She pulls out a dagger, and as you can see here, just stabs it like while blood is just flying everywhere.
Do you think this is any kind of foreshadowing of what the Targaryens become? So clearly she's capable of rage. She's lost it. She's going nuts. And we all know that the Targaryens can get kind of nuts. The Mad King, right? Daenerys. So is this a little bit of foreshadowing here?
I think it could be. I like that. I didn't think about that before, but I think it definitely could be. Because it shows what happens when she gets to her breaking point.
Right.
And it's like, this same thing could be happening to King Viserys right now.
Yeah.
And we just haven't got to it yet.
We have Cole who's watching this, knowing that if she loses her cool while she's on her dragon, a lot of people could
you imagine being Cole right now, just watching this? She's kind of like,
yeah,
slowly just doing this, like,
yeah,
little Homer Simpson back into the
exactly.
He's kind of hitting his breaking point too, but he's also the wine has helped. Because he's very drunk at this moment, but he's kind of, I think this is where he makes his big switch. Because we talked earlier how the conversation he had with Rhaenyra in front of everyone, that conversation completely 180s on itself later on. I think this is his switch inside the fire because he's talking about how he saw that prophecy in the flames. And I think this is, like I said, where it kind of like twists a little bit for him.
Then he's clearly drunk. You see him in this scene. He's like, he can't stand up straight. He's just sloshing everywhere. But interesting to me though, he talks about the Targaryens. He went in to say that there are two different kinds. There's dragon riders and there's like dreamers.
Yeah.
And he so desperately wanted to be what they would consider a dreamer because he saw visions and he's just waiting for them to come true, to come to life. And it hasn't happened yet. And I think it's just really frustrating him.
So we get to the hunt, and of course, all the lowlife people grab this deer and they go, "Sorry, King, couldn't find the white one, but we found a big one for you."
It was interesting because we watched after the episode where they were talking about this is almost a major like relief moment for the king because the entire time he's been questioning was naming Rhaenyra his heir a good or bad decision. And so seeing this normal stag on his son's name day kind of gave him that reassurance that he did make the right decision naming her the heir, because if this had been the white one, then that would have conflicted him so heavily.
Right, so good. So we get to this scene right here where the princess and Cole are having a moment, just kind of breathing a little bit, and they turn over to the right, and there is the white heart, is what they call it, staring right at them.
And I think this goes back to what we were talking about with the king getting the normal stag. I think this white heart showing up for Rhaenyra is a big sign that's like you're the right one.
Princess and Cole return the next day to the celebration. She's still covered in blood, and they drag the giant boar that they killed with them as I don't know, I guess they're gonna eat it later. And everyone that's there, from Lannisters and everyone, just stops and watches her walk in like a freaking boss.
She's cleaned up now. She's looking more like a princess. No blood. No, that outfit is just totally different than what we've seen her in earlier in the
But she's
episode.
being rude to the king, like, I'll do whatever you ask, like
Right.
whatever.
Right.
I don't want to get married. Stop trying to force all this stuff on me. But he's not talking to her like a father. He's like, whatever, your grace, like whatever. And then she finally gets to the meat of her issue. She's like, you're gonna replace me anyway. So what's the point? What's the point of me marrying somebody? You're just gonna replace me anyway. And then the king was like, hey, calm down. I'm giving you my word on your dead mother. I'm not replacing you.
Yeah.
Like, you're
He's-
it. And then he's like, then he goes on and says, hey, just marry someone that's going to make you happy. All right. But can you just get married soon enough? I'm not going to live forever. I'm dying here. And it kind of gave her some like, okay. All right.
You can tell in this conversation he goes from talking to her as the king to talking to her as her dad.
Yeah.
And I think it switches because she drops a heavy bomb on him because he's sitting there talking about duty this, duty that, and she goes, "Well, you didn't choose duty when you married Allison."
Yeah.
And it was like, "Oh,
Touche.
He's like, yeah, all right. I made a mistake.
Well, no, he just says you're right. He's like,
Yeah.
"You're right. I did." He's like, "That's true." And then that's when it's really nice to see that he's just like, I'm
Owned
not
it.
gonna pick who you marry. You're of age. You need to marry, but choose who you want." And it's just like,
But this starts the Game of Thrones again
Yep.
because now she's going to pick someone that probably no one's going to approve of. And now we're going to have all these competing houses again for that throne. You got the king who's rotting away, dying, but he's got a son, and who knows what the next child's going to be. Now you have her that's probably going to pick Cole or someone else that they're not going to approve of. And then you got Damon out there that's kicking butt, who's crazy enough to like win these battles. It's like that's the leader. It's like I can win, I can kick butt, but I'm a little crazy. So and then we go back to Damon, which just like some of the coolest stuff ever in this episode.
well, before we get to Damon, we finally see that the king answers the plea for help.
Yes, that's right.
Because that's how it starts out. He's like, all right, he goes, I need to help him. He goes, it's family. You can see there's a big switch in King Viserys. Big switch. He's like, all right, I'm gonna stop ignoring my brother. I need to send him help. They're struggling. Let's send help. Which we find out Damon wasn't too happy about.
That's kind of great.
That goes back to the conversation that King was having with his wife when she asked him, then let me ask you this a different way. Is the realm better with the crab feeders or not? And the king looked at her like, okay, now I get it.
So now we get into the battlefield where Damon has parked his dragon and there's some talk of mutiny. They're just like, I don't know about Damon, man. I don't know about this guy. Like, he's crazy. And they're discussing that the Crab King and his men have like gone into the caves. And the only way to bring them out is to send a soul that's going to die that will lure them out. And then the armies can jump on and destroy them. So they're like, what kind of crazy person's going to do that? But before that happens, the king's men who came to help and sent the message here to Damon show up. They give the message to Damon that they're going to help. And Damon's like, I don't need no help, buddy. And he starts trashing the messenger. And he just like, and everyone's like, everyone get away. And now you have people that are questioning Damon. Like, why are we on his team? We're getting help. He doesn't want it. His pride was hurt. Damon's pride was hurt. He's like, I don't need my brother's help. Like, I'm going to go do this myself. And then we get one of the coolest scenes ever.
And before we get that far, I was confused at this because when they show the scene, it shows the Valyrian generals all together. You got the king, I think you got his brother or uncle, you got his son. They're all talking. Why is the one guy so negative about Daemon? Because he's like, Daemon's the reason we're losing this fight.
Yeah, they were frustrated with Daemon. Well, keep in mind this war has been going on for 3 years, and they still haven't been able to stop him, right? Because they went to war in the last episode, which was 3 years ago. And Damon hasn't been able to finish the job and conquer these people. And so now they're losing and they had to go and ask the king for help. Damon didn't, but I think the Valerians did. That's where the note came from when he was meeting with his wife, Allison. And they're mad. They're like, this guy's a problem. Get rid of him. We don't want to follow him.
This is the Crab King who they've been fighting. And Jake, you noticed something about his mask?
Yeah, so he's wearing a Sons of the Harpy mask, which we learned about in Game of Thrones. But he also has grayscale.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
It looks very painful. Do you think that mask is now like fused to his face? Because it
looks like it. If you're looking at it right now, it kind of looks like it is. But I thought that was interesting because one of my friends pointed out we were watching it. That's the Sons of the Harpy mask. Then of course we all noticed the grayscale. But it's very interesting.
So what happens? Damien gets into a little rowboat by himself, rolls over to the island where this Crab King and his army are hiding in caves. He then waves the white flag, as you see here, and holds his sword out in defeat and surrender, which then draws out some of the armies.
Pretty much all the army. When we get further into it, because again, like you were saying earlier, their biggest issue is they just kept running into the caves. And their dragons can't go in the caves.
This was such a crazy scene because the Crab King sends out some people. They come up to him to grab his sword. And then Damon's like, I got it all myself. He pulls out these little knives. He starts going at it, gets his sword back, and he's just running towards his enemy, towards the king. He's just running full speed. They're trying to shoot him with arrows. They're trying to knock him down, and he's killing everyone. Crab King's sending more people. He's taking him down. It's going on and on. It's like the Battle of the Bastards, like all over again. And he finally gets hit with a couple arrows, and he crawls under this little wooden, I guess, a destruction of an old house. And arrows are coming in. He's pulling arrows out of his leg. And the armies are coming, and he stands up, and he's literally surrounded by everything. And then, boom.
The Valyrian army's there.
Yeah.
The dragons are there. Also, it's kind of funny. He took an arrow to the knee. Shout out Skyrim.
Daemon takes a beating.
He
really does take a beating. I mean,
Sea Smoke. We get introduced to Sea Smoke, which is the Valerian Sun's dragon, and the reason why he's able to I guess control it or fly on it is because his mother is a Targaryen.
Yeah.
But again, this is just cool to see that they're really going in with a different concept of each dragon, because the book they're all different. None of them look the same, and they're finally doing that in this series. Because again, here we have our third dragon I think we've seen, because we've got Daemon's, we've got Rhaenyra's. I think now this one, Sea Smoke. And all three are completely different.
As Daemon runs into the cave to chase the king, he just comes out with half of his body. We don't see a fight or anything.
I was bummed about that.
Yeah, I thought there would be something, but maybe with the grayscale, he's not really much of a fighter. He's just a leader.
I'm wondering if, because we're getting close to the final scene of the episode, I'm wondering if there's going to be like a flashback or something to the fight. Because it's the what is it? The King Crab King, whatever. He's been an issue for the first 3 episodes. Yeah. And when they finally show him being defeated, it just cuts to Daemon walking out with his upper body. And I think like there has to be a flashback or something coming up, because I feel like this is too crucial of a moment to not show him actually being slain.
Well, I think the moment was when he dragged him outside and everyone saw that he defeated him. It solidified, I'm the right guy.
Right, yeah.
Like Damon's like, I'm the guy. So,
I like how they showed his intestines just dragging out.
Yeah, I can't show that. I don't think I can show that on YouTube, but
you sure?
Yeah, it's like he's just dragging him along. He wanted to feed him to the crabs because I think that's what his promise was earlier on in the episode. It's like, I'm gonna feed you to the crabs, and that's it. That is it. We have set up the different people trying to gain the throne. The throne. And so we're gonna get into episode 4. Any closing statements? What did you like? What you didn't like?
I was just happy we finally got the action. I wanted the battle scenes, and we didn't get that in the first 2 episodes, but I think this really paid off. It was worth the wait because I thought they were incredible in how they did it, especially with the dragons and all that. I was happy about it.
I liked how they showed how the armies were using the dragons, because that one scene when they're talking on the mountainside, you see the dragons circling, kind of doing like, I guess, was it bombing runs every now and then. It was a good episode. I thought it was a little slow in a couple parts, but there's just so much like story being developed. They're taking a lot of time developing the story, getting the characters going, because I'm invested in all the characters now. You know, it's been a while. It's been a while since I can say that. Like, I'm invested in every single character. And I'm scared because we know how Game of Thrones was. You start liking one character, guess what?
Yep, they're no longer with us.
Yeah, and the trailer for next week's episode looks like it's going to be very intense.
Yeah,
very intense.
It starts connecting the dots. It's like, who is it? Who's going to rise above? And
Damon gets a haircut. Like, come on,
yeah, the hair's gone. Damon's hair's gone. The princess speaks to something about a vile rumor or vile gossip. So I wonder what's being spread about her.
Damon's got his little crown that he's made. It's definitely next week's episode.
See his brother, so
that's going to be I'm excited. Again, like this series has done a phenomenal job. The visuals are beautiful. The acting is on point. The storytelling is incredible. Character development is there. I'm excited.
Very happy with the direction. And they're also, House of Dragon is coming for that Rings of Power crown. That's a whole nother video, because they released the first episode. If you haven't seen any of House of Dragon, the first episode is available for free. They just dropped it 2 days ago on YouTube. So go to the HBO YouTube account.
Wow.
And you can watch the first episode for free. They're just like, we got a good product here. We want you to see it, because I believe if you see it, you'll want to watch more. So
and
I appreciate you, Lee and Jake, for coming on for another review. We'll see you next week. Episode 4. Are you gonna wave, Lee?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.